Hello trader, welcome back to deeppocketsforex. We'll be giving you our weekly forex forecast. But before then, we'll be giving you a tip on manipulation. Now, manipulation is something that you cannot stop entirely. Let's say, for example, you trade about 20 trades and you get manipulated around 10 times in the forex market. Manipulation is something that you cannot entirely stop the entire 10 times. At least you can reduce that 10 maybe to 4 based on what you are taught. Now in this video, I'm going to teach you at least one way which you can reduce manipulation using. Now one tip which I can give you is try as much as possible to avoid opening trades on Mondays. Mondays, there's a lot of manipulation there. There's a lot of traders being induced into false movements. So as long as you keep opening setups on Mondays, especially early Mondays or very early when the market has just opened, you try to look for opportunities. Those times, that's when you're going to be induced into movements that are false. So try as much as possible to avoid that. That way you'd realize that you are staying away from as much manipulation as possible, because that's when most manipulation takes place. As long as you just follow this tip and you just test it out for yourself, try it out or wherever you can, or maybe go back into the charts and try to observe how your Mondays has been behaving, this will tremendously help you avoid manipulation as much as possible. Now, if you found this tip helpful, please make sure that you let us know in the comment section so that we keep on sharing with you more tips. Now, there's a lot of ways to avoid manipulation. That's just one. Now, before we waste any more time, let's get on to the weekly forex forecast. This is GBPUSD. For GBPUSD, this past weeks we forecasted a down wave here, and then as structure was unfolding, we forecasted that we are no longer getting this big wave. We may not get this big wave anymore because structure is showing that right from here we're just going to get an impulse move, then a corrective structure, then another impulse move. In our forecast, we also stated that the impulse move is going to be a down move, which is last, and then we are going to have a big up move like this, breaking this previous high. Then right now from this level, we're expecting a wave down to slightly break this previous low. That's what we're expecting on GBPUSD. We're expecting this movement to break this previous low. Then we can give you updates on what's next. When you're looking for entry to trade this down move, keep in mind that for us in the inner circle, we are waiting for confirmation here to make sure that this down move, it doesn't give a correction, then up move to around this area here. If this happens, we will still wait for this movement to happen. Then we can look for our entry right around this area. Then we can look for a sell because this is an expected movement. We're expecting a small movement. Even though we were expecting a bigger movement here to move down, whatever is happening here is just going to be a small movement. Then price is going to complete that small movement. This is NZDUSD, and NZDUSD this previous week we focused at a corrective structure here. After we got this impulse move, we focused at a corrective structure. We said after a corrective structure happens, we'll be expecting a movement up. So since we already got a corrective structure here just as expected, you should start to expect a movement up. One other option that can take place here is that we can get this up move like this, just a small up move, not too big, slightly breaking this previous high, and then we can get a down move like this, then a corrective structure, then a down move, then a corrective structure, then a down move, then price would start moving up right from this area. Why is this a possibility? Because the market has different options, and based on the tip that we shared with you in the past, we shared a tip with you in the past, we said that there's different types of corrections. We can just get a corrective structure like this whenever a correction is expected, then we move up. But sometimes the market can give what we call an extended correction. Now what happens in an extended correction is we can get an up move like this, then we get a corrective structure here, then we get a down move just for the sake of this correction to grow bigger. That's what happens in the market. It happens. You can go back in your charts and just observe for yourself. That's something that happens. And if we get that advancing correction here, it's an opportunity to be able to buy lower. You can be able to buy lower. But if we can get an up move from here and your entry strategy confirms that buy, you can go for it. if you like the way we've been forecasting, you've been following our channel, you like our work, you like to focus just as we focused, you like to be part of our inner circle, and you like to learn more about wave analysis in general, make sure to contact us via the details provided in the description of this video so that you get more details on how to join our inner circle. We have a brand new package for you, a 2 years package for those of you who cannot afford our already existing packages. We have a 2 years training package, 2 years mentorship package that you can take advantage of. Make sure to contact us to get more details. This is USDJPY. USDJPY is one of the pairs that we've been breaking down for you on a weekly basis, and as you can see, this past week we focused on a corrective structure here. Then we say price should be moving up, and that's exactly what we got. Then after we got this up move, we say that there's an expectation to get a bigger correction here. Then price is expected to be moving up. Now as you can see, we're starting to get this down move. This next movement, we can get price moving like this, then down, then like this, then down, and then after we get this movement completing, price is expected to move higher. That's what we're expecting on USDJPY. This is NZDCAD. On NZDCAD, you need to be very careful here if you are looking for a buy. This past week we say that we're expecting a corrective structure here, then price should be continuing up. Now based on what structure is given this week, it shows that we may get a corrective structure here down, a corrective structure down like this. Then after we reach up to this area here, now this is when price should be starting to move up. If you know how to trade this movement, this sell, but it's already risky because it's counter trend. It's already risky. So if you're looking forward to trade in this small movement, just make sure that you manage your risk very well, because it's counter trend. Then later here we can be looking forward for a bigger up move all the way up, breaking this previous high. That's what we have on NZDCAD. This is EURNZD. Now on EURNZD, this next week, be able to expect this down move here. We're expecting a down move here, expect it, and if you know how to trade, you know how to take advantage of this down move, you can go for it and trade it. But before you get this down move, one thing to keep in mind here, just an eye opener, just keep a watch on a slight correction here, then up move, just a slight up move, slightly breaking this previous high, and then this is when now you can start looking for a sell. Also from here you can just we can just get a down move here like this. Now there's a range, you can move from here, we can move from here, we can move from here, but there's a down move that's expected here based on structure. It's expected based on structure. This is USDCHF. Now for USDCHF, remember there's a big up move that's forecasted. Now we got this, and we got a correction here just as forecasted. We forecasted this small correction, then we say our price is expected to move higher. Now remember the tip that we have given you. Whenever there's an expected correction, and a correction can always advance. Now here, this is a movement that we forecasted. We say that we're expecting a correction, then price will start moving higher. Now look at what price is doing. It's giving a correction, then up, then down. What is happening here? Based on the tip that we just shared. Now this is an advancing correction. Now from here, what can happen? There's something that can happen here. We can have a corrective structure here like this, then a down move here, then price may move up from here. And then there's another option, which the correction might just be a complex correction, which we might not include here because it's slightly complex. But one thing to keep in mind is that there's an expected correction here, then a down move, and then from then price may start moving up. That's on USDCHF. This is AUDNZD. Now for AUDNZD, we talked about this down move. We say that we're expecting a corrective structure. Now one thing that can happen here, we're expecting corrective structure to complete, then we get one last down move. Then after we get this down move, start looking for a buy. After we get a down move here, start looking for this movement. There's an expected movement here, and if you know to trade it, it's a good opportunity to be able to look for entry right around this zone here. There's an expected up move on AUDNZD. On this chart we have GBPNZD. Now on GBPNZD, there's an expected movement here like this. There's an expected movement. If you know how to trade this movement, you can be looking forward for an entry here. If we get an entry during the week, we'll be able to look for a buy all the way up, breaking this previous high. That's on GBPNZD. This is EUROGBP. Remember, EUROGBP is a movement that this past week we say that we're expecting a pullback here, then price would start moving up. We say we're expecting a movement up on EUROGBP. GBP. Now one thing that can happen here, we can get another last drop before heading up. So keep in mind that we can have this last drop, then price may start moving up. Right from here, when the market begins, do not just rush for entry. Do not just rush for entry, because we might get a drop here, and then this is where you'd get an opportunity to be able to buy lower. That's according to structure that we are getting. There's an expected drop here, then up. This is EURAUD. Now EURAUD, the structure is kind of messy here, but we've been helping you focus on a weekly basis, and so far the movements that we've been talking about, they've just been showing up. Now one thing that can happen here, based on this current structure, we're expecting a drop here. There's a drop, expected drop. If you're looking forward to taking a buy, just keep in mind that there's an extra drop here. After we get this drop, you will just assess structure and give you an update based on what we're getting currently. But after we get this drop, there's a chance that we might just get a corrective structure like this, similar to this one here. That's what we are focusing on, EURAUD. Then from here, we can be updating you on what's next. Remember, we focused that there's a big wave that's expected. There's a big wave that's expected here, and keep in mind that whenever there's a big wave expected, there's a lot of manipulation, and this is on the 1 day time frame, and there's just heavy manipulation. You need to be patient for you to be able to get this movement. This movement can just continue like this to slightly challenge this previous low here before moving up, so keep that in mind. Also from here, there's still a chance that price might move up. We'll just be assessing it as of now. If you do not look for an entry on this, just set it aside for now and focus on setups that you know how to trade such structure. This is NZDJPY. Now for NZDJPY, keep in mind this past week we focused that we're gonna get a movement like this, then something like this movement, and our expectation was to break this previous low. We focused that a movement to break this previous low like this, but as you can see, we only got an impulse move and a correction. This next week there's hope that we might break this previous low, then from here price would push down like this. This is an expected movement, and it's expected to slightly break this previous low. That's what we are expecting on NZDJPY. There's an expected movement down like this here, like this. So this is a movement that you can trade because it's promising more pips, but before you get this down move here, wait for this movement to complete first, then you get the down move. For CADJPY, a bigger correction is expected here, then more up is expected. That's the structure that we're getting. More up is expected on CADJPY. This is GBPJPY. Now GBPJPY we've not been including in our past focus because a structure is a little bit tricky here. There's some slight changes here. There's some slight changes to the structure. So if you'd like to trade this, my advice to you is just stay away from this pair for now, because structure is confusing and you should only trade setups that are clear, setups that are giving you cleaner structure. If you get such setups giving you structure that is confusing, just set it aside. This is EURCAD. For EURCAD, based on this current structure, you should expect a corrective structure here, then price should start moving up. So after we get this correction, you can start looking for a buy opportunity. You can start looking for a buy opportunity like that. Now there's a possible structure, but that possible structure would happen after we get maybe something like this. If price moves like this right around this area, you should make sure to manage your trade, because there's a possible structure to move against this movement. Keep that in mind. But as of now, keep in mind that there's an expected correction here, then we can get an up move. Then from here we can assess structure and see if more up is still expected. This is EURAUD. For EURAUD, keep in mind this previous week we focused at an up move like this to complete structure, then up to this area we will be getting a down move. We see that we're expecting a movement to complete here, then a down move is expected. So if we get our entry opportunity to be able to sell this next week, we'll be looking forward for a sell movement. But right from here also, there's still a chance that this movement might continue higher. So based on our entry strategy, we'll confirm if this movement is still continuing. If this movement is still continuing up, we will then ignore it and stay out. But the moment we spot our entry opportunity, we'll be able to sell this drop. That's on EURAUD.